Hello and welcome to this video lesson on the SHIP database. This lesson will show you how to access the database and maneuver your way around and some of the things that you can do to look at your data from your classification and comparisons to all the other uh, classifications that have been done and how your individual animal compares to all other animals in the database. This database is accessible only to those people that have participated in the SHIP program, and those people that access the data can only see data about their individual animals. As we'll show you, you'll have a unique login and password that will allow you only to access your animals. However, like I mentioned previously, you will be able to compare the scores on your animals to the sum of the scores or the average of the scores of all the other animals that have been classified. So this will give you an idea on how your animal compares on each individual trait to the sum of the animals that have been classified. So to get started, you will log into the Suri SHIP database or website, which is suriship.org. Maneuver your way down to the menu and click on the Data tab. Once you click on the Data tab, scroll down to the little screenshot of the database, and in the middle there is a button that says Open Database. So click on that button. That'll launch the database and give you an opportunity to log in with your username and password. So your account name is your herd code from AOA, and your password will be provided to you. Your initial password, like I said, will be provided, but then you will have an opportunity to change that right away to your own unique password. Since this is an online database, there may be some lag time depending on the speed of your internet connection. But once it opens, you'll see that you come to the participant dashboard, and you should see your farm listed right below there. And then there's three windows per se. One that says pending applications, one that says classification scheduled, one that says classification completed. So for example, if you have submitted an application but have not yet been scheduled for a classification, you'll see information here in this window where you can check on the status of that application. Once the classification has been scheduled, that event will move down into this middle section, and you can see that it's been classified or it's been scheduled and when and so forth. But for this tutorial, we'll look down here into the last section because the classification has been completed. You'll see the date of the classification, the classifier, the status. Data lock means that it's been reviewed by the classifier and the data has been locked so that it cannot be changed. You'll have two buttons that you have an option to click on. One is application info, which will just go to your information that was submitted on your application as far as your address and name and so forth, classification dates, things like that. There's three tabs here, and this again is just information off of your application form. We'll go back to the dashboard, and what we really want to look at is the herd list. So we'll click on this and we'll go to another window where we can see all the animals that were classified in this particular classification event. And again, we look up here at the top, we'll see our farm or ranch name, the classification date, and the classifier. And then underneath that we'll see each individual animal listed with uh, their ID, registry ID, their name, sex, date of birth, color, and so forth. And then in the last section we'll see a button actually that we can view classification scores. Now you may not be able to see all the animals in this particular view, so at the right hand side is a scroll bar that you can scroll down and see each individual animal. So let's just randomly pick one here and look at the classification scores. So we'll click on that button. We'll open up another window, and again we can see information about the classification, and then below that we'll see information about that alpaca that we just clicked on. The name of that animal, the gender, color, and then the age at the classification date. So below there then we have two different windows, one on conformation traits, the other on fiber traits. Under conformation traits we can see all the 8 different traits that were scored, and then the actual score on each one of those traits. And then this middle column represents the herd average. So that really means the average of all the Suris that have been classified on this given classification date. So this is useful to really compare the score of an individual to the score of your herd average, that you can see how and rank that particular alpaca on a given trait compared to your herd. And then also this last column represents the average score on all the Suris that have been classified in this phase of the classification. So we're looking at phase 2 data here, which is all Suris that have been classified since January 1st of 2014. And you can see the total number was 356 that have been classified, and again the average score here. You can also look directly at the confirmation worksheet. You should have a hard copy that was given to you by the classifier, but if you come down to this button you can click and view the confirmation worksheet, which should look very similar to what you had on paper. It will show you each of the traits, and in the case of confirmation, everybody starts out with a 5, and then points are deducted based on any deviations from the desired score. So since this form is larger, you'll have to scroll to see the whole form. You can up here at the top is a menu. You can jump directly to the fiber form from this point, and you'll get a fiber worksheet that again shows the scores on each of the traits, and you'll have the point system that was used by the classifier to define what each of those scores are. And then we can jump back to the summary page. Now what's interesting from this point of view too is that we can look at a distribution graph for these traits. So we click on this button, and what this brings up is a table and a graph that looks at the scores on all the animals that have been classified in this particular phase. So if I come up here to this trait section, I can select a trait from the drop down. In this case we'll choose luster, and what it does when I select luster, it will show you the score for this particular animal. It will show you, it'll highlight the row in which this animal falls. It will show you how many other Suris had the same score, and then the number that had scores below that or above that. So the number of Suris out of this total, and it'll show you a percentage of numbers that fall in that given score. So in this case, we see that this alpaca had a luster score of 2.5. And if we look over here, there's 43% of the alpacas scored lower than that, and 57.1 scored either equal to that or above that. And then looking at the graph, we can see how those scores fall in the distribution. So we can do that for all the different traits just by coming up here and selecting fineness, for example. It'll show the numbers here. We can jump over into the conformation traits as well. There we go. It took a while to click on that. So if we want to look at back legs, we can see that this alpaca scored a 5 on the back legs, but you can also see that most of the alpacas that were scored very high in this particular trait, and only a few had any major deviations in that. So again, this is just a way that you can compare any particular alpaca to the entire population that's been classified. At this point, that is all that's available in the database. There'll be some enhancements in the future, some additional features that will be provided. There'll be a section for EPD scores. There'll be a section where you'll have several reports available for you to print off that may compare your herd or your individual alpaca to the national herd, things like that. But for the time being, this is what is available. We can just go back to the list. You can either go back to the participant dashboard here, and then when you're done with the database, just come up here and click exit to sign out. So that's it for now. If you have any questions, be sure to contact either the program director or any member of the Suri Network board. Thanks for listening, and good luck.